Welcome back to Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. You're listening to 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk on the topic water seeks its own level, the power of alignment in life. Don't know if you ever heard the phrase, water seeks its own level. It's simple truth from nature. Water naturally flows and balances itself out. But this principle extends way beyond physics. It's a powerful metaphor for life, relationships, and personal growth. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you guys about it. So let's understand what we're saying when we're talking about water seeks its own level. It is talking about the law of alignment. Just like water, we are constantly seeking our own level. The people that we attract, the opportunities that come our way, and even the challenges we face often reflect who we are at our core. So, if we want to elevate our lives, we must first elevate ourselves. We need to seek our own level. Put another way is that, there's a saying that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So, if you think that you are inconsequential, that, nobody cares about you, and you're just, floating along like a leaf blown in the wind, hey, that's the level that you're going to stay at. But if you aspire to be higher, if you aspire to be the lid, that you have no lid, you're going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing because water seeks its own level. Alignment. You need to align with who you are, right? Think about a time that you were surrounded by negativity, maybe in a toxic workplace or a draining relationship. How did it feel? It felt heavy, right? You probably had no interest in climbing or in seeking your own level. That's because at that moment, you were aligning with that environment. And you stay low. You stay like, the water that's in a bottom of a trench or something that's not going anywhere, right? You're not talking about the high seas here, okay? So, on the other hand, when you're around positive, driven, and uplifting people, you feel lighter and more inspired. Like you can fly. That's what water seeking its own level in action looks like. And to prove this point, and the reason that I thought about sharing this with you, is I was listening to a guest speaker preach at Newbert in Atlanta. It was for um, uh, Jamal Bryant's birthday, and they had a guest speaker in, and this guest speaker was his friend from high school. Apparently, they got kicked out of high school together. They decided to go to college and get their PhD. And basically, he was saying that Jamal Bryant told him where to go to school, what degrees programs he should take, where to accept preaching because they both became preachers. And I became aware of something. I became aware that everybody that comes to that church talks about how Jamal Bryant is their friend. I mean, he has been building his influence for decades. He just didn't start now, right? And I was even surprised that during the campaign, Kamala Harris rolled up in his church and says that she knew him 20 years ago, that he was just at her house. And I'm thinking, wow, that's why he has become one of the top preachers in the United States. And people always say, oh, you have success overnight. But you never really have success overnight. You have success when you align yourself around the right people that constantly elevate you so that you can keep raising that water level and keep climbing. So, yes, so that's one of the reasons, I wanted to bring this to your attention and your awareness. So ask yourself, who are you aligning with? One of the best ways to assess where you are in life is to look at the people who are closest to you. Are they lifting you up or are they pulling you down? Are they pushing you towards growth or are they keeping you stagnant? Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And if you want to rise, you must surround yourself with people who are already at the level that you aspire to reach. I don't have a lot of friends that I align myself with, but you know what? I learned the other day that you don't have to be around them physically. You can read their books, right? And I will tell you, there's always a book that I'm reading. I'm reading in the day when I'm walking, and I'm reading at night before I go to bed. So I align myself with a bunch of people that are going somewhere because you're not going to write a book if you're not going somewhere. You're not going to write a book encouraging people if you haven't gone where you said you were going to be and if you haven't risen to the level that now you can share. So, yes, if you realize that your current water level isn't where you want it to be, the good news is that you have the power to change it. And here's a few ways that you can do that. The first one is what this show is about: mindset. Upgrade your mindset. Your thoughts determine your reality. Start feeding your mind with positivity, knowledge, and self belief. Read books, listen to motivational podcasts like this one, and challenge any negative thinking that you have. I was reading a book recently and it reminded me of the scripture found in Philippians 4:8. And it says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." And I have been trying to flood my mind about anything that's lovely, and because I want to focus on that. Because guess what? The law of attraction will work for you when you are meditating or thinking about everything that's lovely. When you start thinking about all the things you don't have and all the things that you should have and all the things that people are doing to you, that's the negative thoughts. And you're going to stay low. You're not going to rise up. You're not going to think you can fly because you're going to stay at that level. So you have got to elevate your thinking. Think about the things that you want. In fact, that's what visualization is all about. Visualize where you want to go and walking it. That's how you get to that level. Number 2 is change your circle. If the people around you are stuck in negativity, it's time to seek out new connections. Join communities that inspire growth, mentorship, and encouragement. Even if it's online, you don't need to go to these things physically anymore. You can do everything online now. Number 3 is take action towards growth. Elevation requires movement. Set goals, take risks, and be intentional about self improvement. Water doesn't stagnate, it flows, right? It either flows up or it flows down, flows wherever the river banks is, okay? Or whatever pipe it's going through, it flows. So make sure that you're flowing, make sure you're not stagnant, all right? Number 4 is trust the process. Sometimes as you level up, you may feel out of place or experience growing pains. It's okay. They say that if you're the smartest person in the room or you're in the wrong room, be in rooms that you're not comfortable in, that you have to grow into. Trust that you're moving into the right direction and don't be afraid to let go of things or people that no longer align with your new level. When you rise up, don't let anybody bring you back down. I remember this guy saying to me once, "I hope you're not my anchor." I have not been anchor of anybody because I'm always rising up. I'm always seeking my own level. That's me. That's why in the personal development space, and that's why I'm a life coach. All right. So, as we wrap up, I want to let you know that Water doesn't fight to fit where it doesn't belong. It simply flows effortlessly to where it's meant to be. And the same is true for you. If something in your life feels out of balance, it may be a sign that it's time for you to adjust your level and move on. So elevate yourself, and you'll naturally attract people, opportunities, and circumstances that match your new height. So, question for you: what level are you seeking? And most importantly, are you willing to rise up to meet it? All right. Yes. You got to rise up. You got to flow. You got to be like water, right? And seek its own level. All right. So, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. I hope that I inspired you to think about the friends that you hang out with. I hope that I inspired you to think of what level you're at. If you think that you're in the top level or you're at the bottom and stagnant. So I want to encourage you to have movement. I want to encourage you to flow. I want to encourage you to read and listen and keep elevating yourself, right? And one of these days, you're going to get to the top. You're going to overflow your banks. And that's what we want, right? That's what abundance is all about. So, thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, namaste.